What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Zero Lab. Today we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 cards of each type in Pokemon TCG Pocket. If you didn't know, TCG Pocket is the big new thing in the Pokemon world right now. Download it on your mobile devices and get playing TCG Pocket. Today we're going to be looking at the best cards of each type in TCG Pocket, and we're going to be starting out with the grass type here. So starting off with the grass types, we have Venusaur EX. 190 HP stage 2 Pokemon with 2 great attacks. Razor Leaf for grass and 2 colorless does 60. And then Giant Bloom for 2 grass and 2 colorless does 100 damage. Then it heals 30 damage from this Pokemon. So this is just a great tank and heal strategy with Venusaur. Obviously, that 190 HP is very high. And then the Giant Bloom can heal damage off of you when your opponents damage you or when you use the attack. And then you also have the Erica supporter that heals 50 damage from one of your grass Pokemon. We also have potions in the game as well to heal even more damage. So Venusaur EX is a very strong tank and heal strategy for the grass type. Moving on, we have Executor EX with the Tropical Swing attack. Does 40 for 1 grass energy, and then flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 40 more damage. So as long as you're flipping heads, you have pretty good damage output for just 1 energy. Also, you have 160 HP. Again, you can utilize the Erica supporter as well as some potions and stuff to heal off any damage your opponent is doing to you. So these are the two grass type EXs right now in the game. And I think you can make a pretty passable deck with these two EXs in TCG Pocket. Now, a couple of cool attackers that the grass type has as well, although they haven't really found their spot in the meta. We'll start off with Pinsir. It has the double horn attack for 2 colorless energies, and then you flip 2 coins. Stack does 50 damage for each heads. So potentially doing 100 damage for 2 energy on a basic attacker is pretty good. So if you're looking for like a basic 1 prize grass type attacker, Pinsir is your guy. And then we have the stage 1 Lilligant with the leaf supply attack for 2 grass energy. It does 50. And then you take a grass energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your benched grass Pokemon. So this Lilligant is actually the only grass type energy acceleration in the game right now. So if you're looking for a way to accelerate grass energies, Lilligant can get that done for you. And then we have Victory Bell. Victory Bell hasn't really found its place in the meta either. However, it's got this really cool ability, the Fragrance Trap ability. If this Pokemon is in the active spot, once during your turn, you may switch in one of your opponent's benched basic Pokemon to the active spot. So it's sort of the only targeted gust that we have right now on this Victory Bell. Although it is a stage 2, it has to be in the active to utilize that ability. But still a very interesting ability on that Victory Bell. So these, as far as I can tell, these are the best 5 grass type cards right now in TCG Pocket. Moving on, we're taking a look at the fire type, and obviously we have to start out here with Charizard EX. Charizard EX is, I would say, one of the top 3 or 4 decks in the game right now. Obviously, it's very well statted, has 180 HP, has that Crimson Storm attack that does 200 damage, and then you discard 2 fire energy from this Pokemon. But Charizard EX would be nothing without the Moltres EX. With that Inferno Dance attack for 1 fire energy, and then you flip 3 coins, take any amount of fire energy from your energy zone equal to the number of heads, and attach it to your benched fire Pokemon in any way you like. So Moltres EX with that Inferno Dance is really how we're loading up all of this fire energy on our Charizard EX. So these are definitely the 2 best fire types right now in the game, and they are what work together to build the Charizard EX deck. Now we have a couple of other good fire types here as well, and all of them are enabled a little bit more by this Blaine supporter card that says, during your turn, the attacks used by your Ninetales, Rapidash, or Magmar do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So with Blaine, we have Ninetales here that does a Flamethrower for 2 fire energy, does 90, but with Blaine it can do 120. And then Magmar has the Magma Punch for 2 fire energy as a basic that does 50, but with Blaine it can do 80. And then Rapidash attacks for just 1 fire energy for 40, but with Blaine you can be boosting that damage up to 70. So the Ninetales, Magmar, Rapidash plus Blaine combination can be very strong as well. Now, moving on to our water types. Our water types are, for the most part, really enabled by the fact that Misty is one of the best supporters in the game. Misty says choose one of your water Pokemon and flip a coin until you get tails, and then for each heads, take a water energy from your energy zone and attach it to that Pokemon. And our best water type attacker right now is this Articuno EX. Has 140 HP on a basic, has the Ice Wing attack for 40, and then Blizzard for 3 energy, does 80 damage and 10 damage to each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. We also have the Starmie EX that has free retreat, and then for 100 has 130 HP, and for 2 water energies, it can Hydro Splash for 90. Getting into the other water types here, Greninja is a very, very strong stage 2. I think one of the things limiting Greninja right now and the Blastoise next to it is the lack of evolution search in TCG Pocket right now. If we're able to get some sort of evolution search, I think something like Greninja will be very strong because it has that ability, Water Shuriken. Once during your turn, you may do 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Then it does have the Mist Slash attack for 2 energy as well for 60. But the really strong thing about the Greninja is that Water Shuriken ability. Then we have Blastoise EX as well, boasting 180 HP, has the Surf attack that can do 40 damage, and then the Hydro Bazooka attack that does 100 for 3 energy, and if you have 2 extra water energies attached, this attack does 60 more damage. So you can do 160 damage with Blastoise EX if you have 5 energy attached. However, the problem is these stage 2s, again, don't have a lot of evolution search, and so it can be hard to draw into the evolutions to keep them powered up quickly enough to compete with the fast and aggressive decks in the game right now. And then finishing off the water types here, we have Frosmoth. For 2 energies, has the Powder Snow attack, does 40 damage, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep. And obviously, your opponent can flip for sleep between turns, but if they remain asleep, they're not going to be attacking you. And Frosmoth's Powder Snow can just buy you a bunch of turns and defeat your opponent by putting them to sleep. Moving on to the lightning types, then obviously Pikachu EX is the best deck in the game right now. Pikachu EX with 120 HP and Circle Circuit for 2 lightning energy does 30 damage for each of your benched lightning Pokemon. Then Zapdos EX with 130 HP has the Peck attack for 1 lightning, and then Thundering Hurricane for 3 lightning. You flip 4 coins, and this attack does 50 damage for each heads. These are 2 of the most fast and aggressive attackers in the game right now, making the lightning type the best type in Pokemon TCG Pocket right now. Now we have a couple other lightning types to look at. We have Raichu that has the Thunderbolt attack for 3 lightning energy. Discard all energy from this Pokemon, but you do 140 damage. Obviously, it can take a while to get all that energy on your Raichu, but Lieutenant Surge says move all of your lightning energy from your bench Pokemon to your Raichu, Electrode, or Electabuzz in the active spot. So you can build up a bunch of energy on your bench and then use Lieutenant Surge to move it all to your Raichu. Then we have the Zebstrika. Zebstrika has that Thunder Spear attack for 1 lightning energy, and this attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. One of the reasons Zebstrika is so good is Pikachu EX with that Circle Circuit attack isn't necessarily one-shotting other EXs in the game, but if your opponent retreats out of their EXs and sends something else up, you can snipe it down on the bench with that Thunder Spear attack. Then we also have Magneton here with a very cool Volt Charge ability that says once during your turn you may take a lightning energy from your energy zone and attach it to this Pokemon. Now Magneton doesn't have a very good attack. For 4 energy it has the spinning attack and it only does 60, but you can really use that Volt Charge ability to build up energy and then move it around with Lieutenant Surge to something like the Raichu. So lightning type, very strong attackers right now in Pokemon TCG Pocket. Moving on to the Psychic type, here we have Mewtwo EX. For 2 energies, it has that Psychic Sphere attack that does 50, and then Psy Drive for 4 energy does 150, and then you discard 2 Psychic energy from this Pokemon. And what really enables Mewtwo EX to be so good right now is this Gardevoir with the Psy Shadow ability that says once during your turn, you may take a Psychic energy from your energy zone and attach it to the Psychic Pokemon in the active spot. So Gardevoir accelerating that energy onto your Mewtwo to be able to do 150 damage per turn. The combination of Mewtwo EX and Gardevoir is very strong and will only get stronger if, again, we get some evolution search in the game. Moving on, we have Alakazam. Alakazam has the Psychic attack for 3 energy, does 60 plus 30 more damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So something like Pikachu EX is going to have 2 energies on it and it has 120 HP. So Psychic will one-shot Pikachu EX by doing 60 plus 60 more damage. Um, Something like an Articuno would have 140 HP and would need 3 energies on it to use that Blizzard attack, so you would be doing 150 damage with Alakazam to one-shot that. So the bigger attackers in the game that have to attach more energy, Alakazam is really good at one-shotting as a one-prizer. Then we have Gengar EX. Gengar EX is a stage 2 that has the Shadowy Spellbind ability that says as long as the Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent can't use any supporter cards from their hand. So pretty good disruption there. Your opponent can't research, they can't Sabrina, that sort of thing. Then it has the Spooky Shot attack for 100 damage for 3 Psychic Energies. So Gengar EX, not the strongest attacker in the game, but has some good controlling potential by limiting your opponent's draw as well as not letting them play Sabrinas and that sort of thing. Then we have the Hypno with the Sleep Pendulum ability. This is just a really cool ability. Once during your turn, you may flip a coin. If heads, your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep. Like we talked about with the Frostmoth, sleep could be very strong, just prevents your opponent on the following turn from attacking. Moving on to the fighting type. The fighting type in the trading card game, the regular trading card game, and in TCG Pocket, struggling for some things like energy acceleration and great, economical attackers. But these are the best of the fighting types we have right now in TCG Pocket. And we're going to start out by talking about this Doug Trio. With the Dig attack for 1 fighting energy, does 40 damage. Then you flip a coin of heads during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage from and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon. So if you can keep flipping heads with your Doug Trio, it becomes immortal and just does 40 damage every turn. Then Hitmonlee has a similar attack to the Zebstrika that we talked about previously with that Stretch Kick. This attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon for 1 fighting energy. So sort of the potential of bench sniping with Stretch Kick on a basic is very strong. Then we have Marowak EX that has the Bone Meringue attack for 2 fighting energy. You flip 2 coins and you do 80 damage for each head. So potentially doing 160 damage for 2 fighting energies can be a relatively strong attack, but again, on the coin flip, it can be pretty hard to ramp up to consistent damage. We have Machamp EX, which is a stage 2 that just for 3 fighting energies does 120. Again, when this is on stage 2, you'd wish that attack might do a little bit more damage or have some better effects attached to it. But these are the best of the fighting cards that we have in the game right now. And then Sand Slash has 100 HP and just has that slash attack. It'll do 70 for 2 fighting energies. Moving on to the dark type, we don't have a lot of dark types in the game right now, so we can't take a look at the top 5. We're going to take a look at the top 3. First of all, Weezing, definitely the best of the dark types right now, has that gas leak ability. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may make your opponent's active Pokemon poisoned, and then it has the tackle attack for just 1 dark energy. You'll be doing 30 damage. And then the Koga supporter says you can put your Muck or Weezing in the active spot back into your hand. So you can take some damage with this Weezing while chipping away at your opponents with that tackle attack as well as the poison. And then you can tank some damage and then play Koga to scoop up your Weezing and get rid of all that damage your opponent was doing. Then we have Muck, stage 1 for 3 energy. It has the Venoshock attack, 70 plus 50 more damage if your opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned. So you can Gas Leak with the Weezing, poison your opponent's Pokemon, tank some hits, then scoop up the Weezing with Koga, attack with Muck, and take a big 1-hit KO for 120 damage. Then we also have Arbok with the corner attack, does 60 damage for 2 energies, and during your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. So that could be pretty big. You Sabrina up something that your opponent hasn't attached energy to, like say they're attacking with a Pikachu EX and they have another Pikachu EX on their bench. You can bring that up and corner it so they can't retreat back out of it into their already powered up Pikachu EX. Then for the metal type, again, we don't have a lot of metal types in the game right now, but these are 2 of the best ones. We have the Melmetal that has the hard code ability that says it takes 20 less damage from attacks than the heavy impact attack. The biggest problem with this, obviously, is that heavy impact attack takes 4 energies to do 120. And then we have this basic Mawile. You can flip coin of heads, discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. So this Mawile can be pretty disruptive if you're able to just continually flip heads and discard your opponent's energies. Then we have the Dragon types. We really only have one Dragon type attack right now, and that's this Dragonite, which is pretty difficult to power up. But once you do, the only thing in the game that can really feasibly one-shot it right now is Charizard EX, and it has the Draco Meteor attack that says one of your opponent's Pokemon is chosen at random 4 times. For each time a Pokemon was chosen, do 50 damage to it. So basically, you're pumping out 200 damage and spreading it across your opponent's board. And so you can do really big damage and basically win the game in 2 attacks with Dragonite once you get the Draco Meteor powered up. Moving on to our normal types, we have everybody's favorite Farfetch'd, which is just a great turn 1 going second attacker with that Leak Slap attack, does 40 for 1 energy. Then we have Kangaskhan that sort of does the same thing, although it's a little bit tankier with 100 HP, does Dizzy Punch, flip 2 coins, this attack does 30 damage for each heads. Then we have a Snorlax here. The best way to utilize Snorlax is just a big wall at the start of the game. It has very high HP on a one prizer, 150 HP. You're never really going to be attaching energy to it to attack. You really use this as a wall so you can start powering up attackers on your bench. Things like Blastoise EX, for example. Then we have the Pidgeot, which is a stage 2, but has a really cool ability, the drive off ability. Once during your turn, you may switch out your opponent's active Pokemon to the bench, and your opponent chooses the new active Pokemon, but it's just a great once per turn ability to gust around your opponent's Pokemon in case they're walling with something like a Snorlax or a Fossil or something like that. Then we have Wigglytuff EX for 3 energy, does the Sleepy Song attack for 80 damage, and your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep. We talked about this already with the Frosmoth, but sleep can be very strong. If your opponent doesn't flip out of it between turns, you can just keep them from attacking or retreating. So status effects, pretty good right now in TCG Pocket. Moving on to our trainers, we have the top 5 trainers here. Easily the best one, in my opinion. It's a toss-up between Pokeball and Professor's Research, but I think it's Pokeball. You just put one random basic Pokemon from your deck into your hand. So great way to tutor out your attackers. And then you have Professor's Research, which is right up there with Pokeball. Just draw 2 cards. It's the best draw that we have in the game right now. X Speed, 1 or 2 of these is going in basically every deck right now. During this turn, the retreat cost of your active Pokemon is 1 less. So it's a great way to get out of an active Pokemon into a Pokemon that you've been loading up energy onto your bench. Then we have Sabrina. Again, 1 or 2 of these is going in every single deck right now. You switch out your opponent's active Pokemon to the bench. Your opponent chooses the new active Pokemon. So let's say your opponent is building up energy on a Charizard EX on the bench. You can gust that up with the Sabrina and start attacking into it. And then I think one of the best supporters in the game, although it is limited to just helping water types right now, is Misty. It's the best energy acceleration we have in the game. Choose one of your water Pokemon and flip a coin until you get tails. For each heads, take a water energy from your energy zone and attach it to that Pokemon. So great energy acceleration for water type Pokemon. And I do want to give a shout out to Giovanni as maybe the number 6 trainer in here. Giovanni is also a very strong supporter card that just says your Pokemon's attacks do 10 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon on that turn. So Giovanni is another great supporter that we have in the game right now. So those are the top 5 cards of each type in Pokemon TCG Pocket. Hopefully this gave you an idea if you were looking for a certain type, you wanted to build a deck around fighting types or grass types. Hopefully this video gave you some ideas on what Pokemon you might want to use for that deck. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.